Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to install awscli tool on a Linux machine. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to follow the official AWS guide, and I'm using a Ubuntu machine. I haven't made any videos on YouTube for past couple of years, so I wanted to start making videos again, and I decided to start with something small. I do plan to make videos regularly on AWS and other topics related to cloud and Kubernetes and other automation tools. Under the section of AWS, I want to cover certain services and certain tips and tricks. These are not like regular tutorials where you learn services and prepare for a certification, but these are more targeted towards certain services where you don't find online help quite easily, and I have experienced those things and I wanted to share my learnings with you. So let's start. First thing first, let's look at what exactly is a command line interface. So any tool that you plan to use always has a command line interface, whether it is a kubectl or a AWS CLI or even Helm to deploy your Helm charts. And the basic idea is to set up a tool on your local environment, configure it using your credentials, and then interact with the system via terminal. So this is AWS CLI version 2, and there are certain prerequisites for these. The first one being, obviously you need an AWS account. You should be knowing how to create an IAM user and then generate a access key ID and a secret key. So these steps we're gonna perform later on after installation of a tool. So let's move on to the next tab. Here, since I'm going to use a Linux machine, I think this is going to be pretty straightforward. I need to download a zip file, unzip it, and then using root privileges install the executable. So I'm just gonna copy paste into my terminal and see how it goes. So I have a terminal open here. Let me make it big and let me paste these commands. So it started downloading it, just unzipping it, and it's asking for my password to upgrade its privileges, and it says yeah, you can do it. You can run AWS version. Let's see what version have we installed now. I think need to see how I can see my version, and there you go. I have the latest version of this tool. The reason why it is advised to follow official documentation is because you might have this tool already available out of your package manager. For instance, I'm using Ubuntu Linux distribution, and it is there, but you don't know how often these things are updated and how safe are these. So you see, it is version 1.15.58, and the one that we installed right now is the latest version 2.9. So this is always better to install using the official documentation. Let's go back to the browser and see what are any other steps. So these are basically the installation, and we are almost done. So we did check on the version, which is nice. So what is the next step? We have to go back to our AWS account. Yes, and under IAM section you can look at the users. I already have a user created, so that user should not have a secret key or access key generated. Alright, So now you see these are the permissions, the groups it is part of. You could always add tags, and this is the interesting part where you are going to generate access keys. It's just simple as that, and this is only time you're going to see the secret key. So let's go back to the CLI. The first part is to configure it. It's going to ask for the access key, which we can which we can copy from the browser, and I can go back to my terminal. Now it asks me what is my secret key. So again, I'm gonna copy and paste it in this. The next is asking for my default region. You could do that now, or you could also change it later on. So the first part is to go back to your console. Since IAMs are the global region, you need to look at, okay, this is going to be my default region. So I'm going to copy this and go back to this one. All right. Now, whenever you run an AWS command, the output could be either YAML, a JSON, or a plain text. So it's up to you what kind of output format you would like to see. I prefer JSON. So we are done. Now, you could check with the simple AWS S3 list command. If you have any buckets, you're gonna see, yes, there are 2 buckets. And just to verify, I'm going to visit my console and look for AWS S3 service, and I should see those 2 buckets, meaning the AWS CLI tool was configured correctly. Okay, so these are 2 buckets. Obviously they are in different regions, and nothing more to see here. So once the tool is configured, you can go on to run basic commands, and I'm going to prepare a part 2 of this, and we'll go through some examples on how to run AWS CLI commands, how to look at output, and how to filter the useful information from a JSON output. And also there might be some situations where you cannot perform certain tasks on a console, meaning the GUI, and you are always going to use the CLI tool. So in the next video, I'm going to do that. Thanks for sticking around, and I see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.